You're listening to the Mark Bradford Alchemy for Life podcast.
Do you keep secrets from yourself? What? Well, hey there. Welcome back. Do you have secrets from yourself? Whoa. Really? We're going to get right into it like that, huh? You're like, wait, what? Secrets from myself? Well, look, I could have said, are you living in denial? And then you'd roll your eyes and go click, right? Because you've already heard that one, and you've heard other things like, just as offensive as that is sort of, do you lie to yourself? Like, that's kind of offensive. Like, if someone came up to me and said, hey, Mark, do you lie to yourself? I'd be like, wow, okay, where's this going, right? Or are you living in denial? I'd be like, what exactly am I denying, Mr. Person who's here at the stoplight with me? You should probably roll your window back up. Leave me alone, right? I'm being a little silly here because I'm trying to take away the fact that this can be kind of an offensive question. Because as we know, we all have this internal programming. We all have these safeties in place. We have a ton of safeties in place, a ton of layers and things that keeps us from doing absolutely crazy things like when you get mad at someone, like, ooh, I'd really like to push them down a flight of stairs. And you don't. And then you joke about it. And then they're your good friend or something like that. And you even tell them at some point, you're having a beer and you say, I really wanted to push you down a flight of stairs. Ha, ha, ha. And everybody laughs because you're not. Because you have safeties in place, because we have lots of integrity, foundational safeties in place in our brain, which I will not go into here. But there are times when we aren't quite on the up and up with people, right? I mean, you have to be. We have to keep things from other people. I become a tremendous liar when it comes to Christmas time. I'm really good at that. Because, you keep secrets from people about presents and other things, right? You tell little white lies. Oh, you look great in that. Things like that. So I'm talking about keeping secrets from yourself, which makes you think, well, wait, I don't have some sort of dual personality issue. I don't have, some kind of issue that would allow me to do that, or some sort of brain mechanics. And I don't want to get into that, right? I'm not getting into the reality of people who do have that issue, who actually kind of section off a part of their brain from the rest of them. And this is a real thing. This is a very tragic thing. And if you've ever been personally exposed to someone who does this, it can ruin lives. It's a horrible thing. So I'm not going down that path with you, somebody who can actually do terrible things and then section off a piece of their brain and then say, I don't know what you're talking about, right? And then slowly but surely the brain gets back at them. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a little bit of a different take on this. And let me tell you where this comes from. This comes from writing fiction, right? So when you write fiction, you have an outline and you have a general idea of how certain things work, personalities. You get sort of a gist of a person's personality. And there's a way to get that gist of a personality, which can just download a tremendous amount of information about the person, as if you were given, a bullet list of like 500 reactions this person could make. And we all get this. This is how we apply labels and we generalize, and even how we create stereotypes, in that we go, oh, okay, this person is a really hardworking person, therefore these other things are probably true. Right? Come on. That's what we do. We put people in a box. We put ourselves in a box. So what I'm saying is that when I write fiction, there's a certain amount of keeping secrets from myself, because I have to speak as the characters. I have to narrate as someone who isn't always omniscient, You can be a narrator in a book and say, Bill and Ted met, and this would be the last time they ever met. You could say things like that, and I have used that, because sometimes it's interesting to sort of tie up a loose end, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes you have to leave loose ends, and sometimes you have to have characters wonder or make tremendous mistakes because they simply didn't know a simple fact, because they weren't exposed to it properly, or they ignored it, or they never noticed, right? So clearly, I have to keep secrets from my characters when I'm writing fiction. Obviously, anybody does who writes. You can't have everyone know everything else. And I think when people begin writing characters, sometimes they forget that, or they intentionally make someone really, really not very smart, which, is a lot less effort than thinking through how real human beings react to each other. Okay, does that make sense? Have I softened the blow enough for me to use my version of do you lie to yourself? So, oh, Mark, you just ruined it. All that effort for nothing. No, so what I'm trying to say to you is that there's a version of that which you do keep secrets from yourself. I mean, let me give you a kind of a fun example of that. Sometimes something's going to happen at the end of the day, or the next morning you're going to have, a real treat, right? You're going to see a friend you haven't seen in a while. You're going to do this. You're going to go on a really fun date or what have you, or it's your birthday or it's something that something really cool is going to happen, but you just sort of ignore it, right? Of course you do. I mean, like, there are some people who can't contain their giddiness, and all they do is like think about it, and then all of a sudden they're obsessing, and then it's a bad thing. So we don't want to go that route. But people sometimes close off a little bit, and they say, well, I don't know. Yeah, no, nothing's going on tomorrow, Mark. Just mop the floor, and then that way they have even a bigger surprise. Or you may sort of start to detect that your wife is throwing you a surprise birthday party. So you keep that secret from yourself. You're like, yeah, I think I figured it out. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And then you go about your business. So do you see how those are kind of constructive? Okay, good. Good. And it's not a terrible thing. But your brain can also do that, and you can willfully do that too. And a great example is weight loss. You're going to choose a meal, and you say, well, I'm going to choose this. And you go, ooh, that's kind of bad. Well, I'll have a salad with it. Or no. Those vegetables that are rotting in the drawer in the refrigerator, I will eat those if I eat this first, okay? I'm going to eat that for lunch, and then I'll eat that for dinner. And then dinner comes around, and you're like, oh, I really don't want to eat that. I'm kind of full from the chicken. You kind of kept that secret from yourself, didn't you? It's not like it just sort of worked out that way. Come on, right? You knew you weren't going to eat those vegetables. You knew that when you bargained with yourself to go do that thing to get that pleasure, you weren't going to follow through, right? So you kept that secret from yourself. And again, you could say you lied to yourself. And that sounds terrible. And I don't want to phrase it that way, even though that's pretty accurate, right? So that's where I'm going with this. So I'd like you, after listening to the podcast, we won't do our pausing thing. Think about a secret you've kept from yourself. Or think about a method that you use to keep secrets from yourself. And again, like anything, it can be used for good or for bad. It can be beneficial and kind of make life more fun and keep you humble in a way, right? Kind of keeping you humble. Like, I'm going to walk in this room and everyone's going to recognize me as the famous da-da-da-da-da. Or, look, I'm just like everyone else. I'm just going to walk in. And you're like, everyone's going to clap. Or everyone's going to see. Those kind of things where you kind of keep yourself humble and say, no, I'm not all that. Yes, you are. Yeah, you're really good at that thing. No, right? You're kind of keeping that secret from yourself that you truly are that great at that thing. Or you can use it for something insidious. And you don't intentionally decide one day, I'm going to lie to myself. But people fall into that. I mean, I think I would surmise that sometimes when you have a stuck habit you are trying to break, it is because you are keeping a secret from yourself. So, after the podcast, think about a secret that you're keeping from yourself, and then think about a stuck habit or a stuck situation. I know coaches love to use, I'm going to get you unstuck, but I'm using it now for the very first time in like 1,000 episodes. I think it's only 200. Think about that. And as always, let me know. Okie dokie? All right. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening, and I will see you soon. Hey there, thanks for listening. I always enjoy your feedback. The prequel to The Sword and the Sunflower duet, called Upside Down, is now available. The Sword and the Sunflower is available as Kindle, paperback, and audiobook. with the other two, Amira and Upside Down, being available as Kindle and paperback. Well, actually, all three books are now available in hardcover.